IFR training videos, by
Toga thrust.
NDB approach at Ostend, EBOS. Now, we are approaching the initial approach fix by the south, after a navigation from an airport abroad. Of course, as usual, after having switched from one cruise alternate to the other, we were approaching our destination, computed our top of descent, added our 30 nautical miles for the preparation. When arrived at the computed distance, we listened to the ATIS, checked the fuel sufficient and balanced, checked the NOTAMs in our flight folder, and performed our cockpit setup in a structured manner and according to our standard arrival plate and our approach plate. Then we briefed our flymate about our intentions and settings. Let's brief the approach in a standard way. Brief the ATIS, letter, runway in use, type of approach, wind, crosswind component, visibility, ceiling, temperature and dew point, QNH, fuel and NOTAMs, aircraft status, then brief the chart. We are inbound to Oscar November Oscar, maintaining 3,000 feet QNH. We are inbound to perform a NDB approach B runway 26 in Ostend, Belgium. Chart is 16-2 effective date 15th of June.
NDB frequency 399.5, final approach course 256 degrees, altitude at final approach fix is 1,540 feet, DEA, MDA is 530 feet, airport elevation is 7 feet. Minimum sector altitude is 2,300 feet for the highest, 1,700 feet for the missed approach.
Arriving at Oscar November Oscar, we have to position by an entry in the holding pattern, parallel entry, left turn, heading 256 degrees. Then proceed outbound on QDR 100 degrees for 1 minute and 30 seconds, descending to 2,000 feet. Turn left to intercept the QDM 256 degrees at 2,000 feet. At 18 nautical miles from Kilo Oscar Kilo, descend to 1,540 feet. Passing the final approach fix, start the descent on a 3 degrees glide, 550 feet per minute at 100 knots, down to the minimas 530 feet QNH. We need an RVR of 1,500 meters. In case of a go-around, climb on 256 degrees to Delta Delta locator, then turn right at maximum 185 knots on 019 degrees QDR from Delta Delta locator. Climb to 2,000 feet, turn right to intercept radial 260 degrees inbound to Charlie Oscar Alpha VOR, climb to 3,000 feet. At 5 miles to Charlie Oscar Alpha VOR, turn right direct to Oscar November Oscar NDB. When finished, brief the performances, go around, runway length versus landing distance required, taxiways and parking and threats of the day. When the briefing is done, you normally should have reached the top of descent point and you may start the descent towards the initial approach altitude, here, 3,000 feet. We are all set for the approach. We have a little time to set our minds straight, weather, fuel, NOTAMs, briefing preparation and to other pilot, bugs, perfos, threats and specials, all done. Turn, inbound to Oscar November Oscar, no turn required. Time, chrono ready to go. Twist, all set for approach. Talk, we have to report passing Oscar November Oscar. Throttle, check speed versus load, and icing signs. Next step, overhead the NDB, turn for the parallel interception. We are arriving on a heading north. We have to be on the QDR 256, so roughly 100 degrees difference. 1/3 is 35 degrees, so we will turn on a track 221 degree until being on the QDR 256 degrees. Prepare the entry into the holding as soon as you know you have to do it. 1. Reduce the speed. 2. Confirm the frequency of the holding facility is correctly set and identified. 3. Confirm the bearing 1, or 2, is set to the holding guidance, here ADF. 4. Set the VOR CDI tail on the holding radial, here, 256 degrees. 5. Compute the entry, here, parallel entry, outbound track 256 degrees, left turn, refer to the holding module for more informations. Passing Oscar November Oscar, apply what you have prepared, turn onto a heading of 221 degree. Time, start the timer for 1 minute. Twist, set heading bug. Talk, report entering the holding pattern overhead Oscar November Oscar for positioning. Throttle, confirm holding speed with power setting and check no sign of icing. Next step, intercept the QDR and after 1 minute, turn left to the NDB. After 1 minute, start the turn back to the NDB. You are cleared by the ATC for the NDB approach runway 26, switch on the taxi light as a reminder of the clearance and perform the approach checklist. The descent checklist has been done when clearance to descent was received. Turn, completed. Time, may be reset as it is only an entry. Twist, heading bug. Talk, nothing. Throttle, check speed versus power and icing signs. Next step, overhead the beacon. As we exceed 30 degrees change with the outbound 100 degrees, we have to complete a full turn in the holding pattern to position ourselves. In real life, ATC would allow us to perform the approach from this position surely. So we will turn right on the outbound track 256 degrees. Overhead the beacon, turn right to outbound track to be corrected by the wind. Time, stand by for a beam position. Twist, set heading bug. Talk, turning outbound in the holding. Throttle, check speed versus power and icing signs. Next step, start the chrono. Abeam the beacon, start the chrono and compute the outbound time. 9 degrees crosswind means 9 degrees wind correction. 33 knots tailwind means outbound some 15 seconds shorter. So an outbound time of 45 seconds, and a 2/3 of the time equals to 30 seconds. We should have corrected left as we were too early on the 2/3 of the time check. Now, at 45 seconds outbound, we turn right to intercept the inbound 076 degrees QDM. Turn right to intercept the QDM 076 degrees. Time, reset as the purpose here is not to continue the holding and we have to be ready for next timing. Twist, set heading bug. Talk, nothing. Throttle, check speed versus power and icing signs. Next step, 60 degrees to the inbound track check, which is very difficult to do with the NDB as the needle suffers from the dip error. Turn, nothing. Time, reset as the purpose here is not to continue the holding and we have to be ready for next timing. Twist, set heading bug. Talk, nothing. Throttle, check speed versus power and icing signs. Next step, overhead the beacon, take a heading to intercept the QDR 100 degrees. Arriving with a track of 076 degrees, it make a difference of 25 degrees. 1/3 is more or less 10 degrees, so the intercept track should be 110 degrees. Overhead the beacon, turn to a heading computed of 115 degrees. Time, on for 1.5 minutes. Twist, heading bug. Talk, report beacon outbound unless otherwise stated by ATC. Throttle, check speed versus power and icing signs. Next step, after 1.5 minutes, turn left to intercept QDM 256 degrees at 2,000 feet. 1 minute and a half. Turn, left to an intercept heading of the QDM 256 degrees. Time, reset to be ready if needed. Twist, set heading bug. Talk, turning inbound final. Throttle, check speed versus power and icing signs. Next step, at 18 dm Ecoxy, descend to 1,540 feet. "18 miles, descend to 1,540 feet. Next step, at Oscar November Oscar, start the descent 550 feet per minute. Approaching the final approach fix, set flaps approach. At the final approach fix, the 5 Gs. Gear, down. Glide, follow. Go timer, not required. Go around altitude, set 2,000 feet. Green light, check gear and flaps lights. Next will be 1,000 feet above the ground. Now we switch for the next NDB, Oscar Oscar, 375 MHz, and we prepare the next one, Delta Delta, 352.5 MHz. "1,000 feet AGL, we check the approach band. 500 feet above minimas, we check stabilized and checklists completed. We are clear to land runway 26, set the landing light on as a clearance reminder. Next will be 100 feet above minimas. "100 feet above minimas, start looking outside for visual reference. Next will be minimas. Minimas. Go around. Perform the aircraft's go-around procedure. Switch the NDB to Delta Delta for the go-around guidance and follow the go-around routing and altitudes. The altitude bug should have been set to 2,000 feet according to procedure. We should have made a level off at 2,000 feet and wait to set course to Costa to climb to 3,000 feet. Now, do not forget the after takeoff checklist. Turn, done according the plate. Time, not required. Twist, heading bug. Talk, going around. Throttle, check go around power versus speed and any sign of icing. Next step, intercept radial 240 degrees inbound to Costa. Radial is alive, prepare for interception. After the go-around procedure, you have the choice. 1. Start another approach right away. 2. Enter the hold to assess the situation, depending on the fuel reserve. 3. Divert to your chosen alternate. This concludes the step-by-step procedure for the NDB approach runway 26 in Ostend.